cooked with firewood. The smoke, today you might like when I let's say when we do the activations, you come out of the activations smelling smoke off of you. but those are new changes now. Then smoke was part of
your life.
It was part of your life.
It was part of our life growing up. But yeah, I'm really excited to have this conversation.
That problem,
Yes, absolutely.
Right, Lorraine.
Yeah, so just like Anne, I grew up in Meru, and my brother and I had chores.
Okay.
When you come from school, you wash your shirt and blouse, hi mom, and then you had to light the jiko. And I think lighting the jiko was the one thing none of us liked. I don't know whether you've lit a jiko in your heydays, Moses.
Yes, I did.
Let me tell you, it is just a task. It is one of those things you don't enjoy doing. And so the options were you have a charcoal, jiko, you have the stove, which then is used maybe in the morning kuchemsha maji, and then there's a gas that is somewhere, but that gas is specifically for either when mzee amechelewa jioni kukaranga nyama or kuchemsha maziwa, period. There are no two ways about it.
Like you remember the cutlery that was never used by the locals.
Ni ya wageni peke yake.
So the gas ilikuwa na mwenyewe.
Yes.
Our option for the gas was the green kerosene stove. If you remember,
we used to have that.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
we did. You know?
Exactly.
But I used to light my jiko. I used to do it because we grew up 6 boys.
Oh wow.
So and everybody had a day to do their jiko.
Yes.
So my friend, in fact, we were like the Egyptians. You have to look for the papers to put on.
Are we on the same page?
You are the one to look for the papers.
You know, these stories, there are people you give and they cannot relate.
And,
they don't know what you're talking about.
and the worst part is that the person in the kitchen will be shouting, "Why is it not lighting?" You know?
Yeah.
So transformation. Let's talk about transformation. I mean, when you look at that, that's a past we are trying to describe to many people.
Yeah.
And the transformation, the changes that have gone through. Today we are talking about gas. Now we are actually talking about clean energy. And you are privileged to be in this space.
Yeah.
Just give us a link, give us a picture of the transformation that you have seen through that, especially now that you're not using charcoal, you're not using the wood. What would you call it? Firewood.
Firewood.
Yes.
So I think even before we go to the transformation conversation, I think it's important for us to share some of the statistics right now. And I think we do the work we do because most people aren't aware about the statistics at the moment. So 23,000, and that's those are up. Now it has gone up.
Yeah,
That's 2019 number. Over 23,000 lives are lost annually due to household air pollution.
20,000.
In fact, as of this year, when the Ministry of Energy did the statistics, it's now 25,000.
The reason?
Smoke.
Household air pollution.
Household air pollution. So this is smoke from firewood, from charcoal, from kerosene, as you're cooking. And women are the ones who cook with their children in the kitchen.
Those are big statistics.
So that number is we are talking more women and more children compared to men.
You know, I'm reminded there was a time I was watching a documentary, and unfortunately it was in this country, about a certain slum and a woman, an elderly, especially elderly, because these ones don't have a lot of care by people, and she's in a slum. She was lighting fire using paper bags, plastic.
Plastic, yes.
Yep.
And already she has a chest condition, already, but that's what she can afford.
Yeah.
So I can agree with those statistics.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, if you want to a comparison that hits home, is we have around 4,000, 5,000 road accidents in comparison to 25,000 annually.
Yes.
Tell me how this is not being drummed up.
Should be a crisis.
So basically we are focused on these other on one area, we are forgetting one key area where actually...
It's a slow death.
It's a
So
slow
when you
death.
compare it with, let's say, the road accidents,
Yeah,
they happen so abrupt, and, you know, everybody's in shock. For when it comes to household air pollution, it's more of a slow death.
It's a silent killer.
It's a silent killer. And 25,000 is known. There are many stories when we go to the villages where you hear mtu alilala na hakuamka, and then the families can't afford post-mortem, so you never quite get to know what the cause was. But those that do, most of them find that. In fact, we have a friend, one of our partners, logistical partners. So when we were opening our account, and we went to his office and he was asking us, so what do you guys do? What do you want to deliver across Kenya? We were like, we want to deliver jikos. And then we started that jiko conversation, and unfortunately for him, he had lost his mom.
Oh my.
And it happened during, I think, a couple of months after COVID. And they were quite shocked. So they did a post-mortem to find out what happened to mom. And I remember they found chest yake ilikuwa black, like that of a smoker.
Yeah.
And so they asked him, does your mother smoke?
Oh no.
And he's like, what do you mean? Mamangu ni wa Mother's Guild. What are you talking about? Of course she doesn't smoke.
He doesn't smoke.
Yeah, so it's we want to talk more about
So
it.
it's a worthy cause, let's say that.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
is a worthy cause.
It's a worthy cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for us, really, our main goal is to revolutionize how clean energy is viewed, and especially in the rural areas. Because if you look again at statistics, which is something we are very keen on, 9.1 million households, and this is according to this year's statistics from Ministry of Energy and Kenya Bureau of Standards, Kenya Bureau of Statistics, yes, KNBS. Of that 9.4 million, 1.7 is urban, so where we are at.
Urban?
Urban, yes. And then 7.4 is rural.
From those statistics, let me ask you, Lorraine, and anyone can pick it. Have you ever come into a situation where this family is grieving because of this matter?
So what Anne talked about just now with our logistics senior manager in this country is one of them. And we have many. Go to Kikuyu, go to Lions Hospital. There's a lot of people being treated for eye conditions. And why is this happening? It's because of the pollution, the household air pollution, the smoke, chest pains. Women will tell you Githuri is paining, and you go for test after test after test. And I know Kemri, University of Liverpool, and quite a number of other organizations are really trying to address this issue in terms of how do we also equip our doctors to realize that these chest pains these women are coming in are truly from the smoke.
Then leads me to a thought. A thought is, I think, as I listen sometimes, and I'm just thinking then, you know, we do a lot of civic education when you are voting.
Yes.
Why not in this area? Because this, if we have those kind of statistics and deaths, then why, is there civic education? Or, I mean, is there, we call it
Do we go there? Do you want us to go there?
I'm just thinking, I think it's...
There's a lot of what they call, what is that word, Anne? Capacity building.
Capacity
I think
building.
that word is, I don't like that.
We've actually been saying it needs to be scrapped off.
That word is a tired word in
Yes.
Kenya, and I think in Africa,
Yes.
we need to move from that word.
From capacity.
Thank you.
And now
We
go to
are
the ground and literally talk, because imagine you said urban. I heard you say urban.
Yes.
Urban.
Yes, yes. In fact,
Urban.
Nairobi is among the 5 counties that are still in deficit of transitioning to clean energy.
To clean.
And you can imagine what I was telling you about is a slum in the city.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Yes. There are many slums.
So there are many organizations, let me say, that are doing capacity building and trying to create awareness on household air pollution. But maybe we need to rethink the methodology a little bit, because it's I don't know if it's effective.
Now I want to ask, is it measurable?
Neither is it measurable.
Because
but,
really,
but it could be. Let me
yeah.
tell you, earlier this year in COP 28, was it? Or 20? Yeah, we're in 28. One of the most honest conversations I had from that conversation in Paris was a gentleman, I can't quite remember what his name was, and he said, here is the thing, we must face the reality. We need to meet people where they are, with what they have. So, case in point, if we are working in Murang'a, Machakos, and everywhere else, it will be extremely difficult to come and tell my grandmother, move from your 3 stones to gas. It's not going to happen. That conversation will not happen. It's an easier conversation if I say, let's move from a 3 stone to a jiko she understands,
Yes.
which uses less firewood, which is what she's used to, which is easily accessible to her and affordable to her. Because then transitioning must be a slow transition.
Yeah.
But this thing of tutoke hapa tuende kwa gas, I sent you something yesterday so that then you can see what happens when you go and give free things. That's what
No,
happens.
free things don't work.
Yeah.
In fact, in Africa, free things. you need to
Let me
think
give you a
about.
bit of context. So, for example, affordability is a real issue. Access is another issue. As much as we're talking about awareness. So, for example, we've been in Murang'a County quite a bit. And I know you know of this program by the Murang'a County Governor, Inua Mkulima.
Yeah.
So basically, Inua Mkulima gives farmers funds for them to be able to get, let's say, farm inputs or groceries, etc., from certain stores within Murang'a County. So the total amount is 800 shillings. And I remember there's a morning we were there, and some farmers had missed out on their cards. Some cards had been delivered to different wards. It was at the beginning of that program. And there were queues upon queues because that 800 shillings is so significant to them.
Yes.
Right? It's a significant amount, 800 shillings a month, which comes to about 2,400 every 3 months.
Yeah.
So to transition that woman from the 3 stone to now LPG, it just...
No, it's not even workable.
It's not workable. It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable because then I think I think the people that capacity building is not going to stay in those places.
So there's an awareness issue, there's an access issue, and there's an affordability issue. And as you're creating awareness, if you don't tackle the other two, it's just going to be an interesting story I had from someone.
You know,
and they'll go back
and
to...
I'm thinking something very interesting. Yeah? If those are the 3 key areas and you've been able to identify them, and it seems that if we solve this issue, we'll solve a health crisis.
Yes.
Critical.
Lorraine, imagine, you know, we may take you to hospital, but then take you back again next week.
Exactly.
But why don't we deal with this issue? I think, wow, I think that's why you're here.
Thank you for having us. It's a
that's
gospel
why
we are
you're
preaching
here.
every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
So you decided to solve that problem.
We are trying to solve that problem.
Yes, in your little way, but you're part of, I like the hummingbird story from the late Wangari.
Yes.
You know, the hummingbird, so you're doing your little part.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let me ask about, just go through in your interventions through Lowaki. How did Lowaki come up?
Interesting story. And do you want to give us this story?
First of all, let's get it out. Lowaki is Lorraine, Wairimo, Kirigia. We are yet to find a deeper story that aligns with the mission. But we love it very much because I think it represents us. We are women and we are doing this for women. I think, how did it come about? So we've both been entrepreneurs in different industries before October 2013, actually. And I think we were both feeling like we need to change. You know, the way sometimes you can build something and get to a point where you feel, I need a change I need to pivot in my career and just do something that has, that is more impactful and has...
You're avoiding our word calling.
calling. To be honest, right now, at the beginning, it didn't feel like a calling. But right now, we are so invested. We are so invested, and we want to do this for our grandmothers, our mothers, and the people who are still
That's how it grows,
living in the village.
You just start something.
Yeah, so we came about clean energy, not just clean cooking. And I think the more research we did, the deeper we got into it, and we sort of got even more and more invested. And so we were looking at those numbers, the ones we shared, like over 23,000. We were wondering, how come nobody's talking about it? Then we look around, we're like, there are solutions that exist. How come they're not out there solving this problem? How come not as many people are talking about it, you know, as we imagined they would? And I'm glad also that the Ministry of Energy is sort of amplifying the voices in terms of creating more awareness on especially clean cooking. So we did a bit of research, and we were like, okay, this sounds like something we really would want to get into. And so Lowaki was born.
Now she's mentioned research 4 times.
Yes.
Just noting.
Yes.
It means you come from a place of data, information, clarity, yeah?
Yes.
I don't know how many organizations start that through research. Because I am a data person. I like data. And data will always give you the reality on the ground. It doesn't cheat you. Even if you tabulate, it will just bring you back where you are. And from that data and your, what percentage are you thinking you would break through?
Please go.
Lorraine,
don't run on this one.
When we started ambition, we were beyond ambitious. We were so sure in 3 months this thing.
Kenya will know.
Little did we know that saying of vitu kwa ground. It's actually not just a saying, it's a reality. Vitu kwa ground is very different, because then you come from where the numbers you've read, the information that is out there is telling you that there's a lot of sensitization that has been done, so people on the ground understand that they must, you know, transition to clean energy. Then you go to one remote area in Moiben, and no one has an idea of what you're talking about, you know. And so we realized very quickly we may have to do our own research, but then not do it just on paper.
Wow.
Do it from the ground, which means it's a very costly affair. We have no funding. We are 2 young ladies, I was going to say black girls, 2 young ladies, you know, moving around and just finding out how do we do this, you know, with very little capital, with very little funding, if at all. And here we are, 9 months later, literally.
Wow. You know, I'm thinking about something. Vitu kwa ground.
Vitu kwa ground.
Tofauti.
I like your tagline, you know?
Yes.
So your solutions come from the ground,
Yes.
not from this other side.
No.
You know, we have been accused of having very many boardroom meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in fact,
our
let me
budgets
shock
are
you.
stuck in the coffees.
In the
But
well, don't even go there, man.
We have lived it.
We've seen it, and I think one of the continents that we really borrowed from was Asia, and how India especially has been able to transition their communities and households to cleaner energy. So I think we borrowed quite a bit from there. There's, by the way, we have very smart minds in this country.
Oh yes, we do.
So if you're researching on the internet and you're trying to get more informed on a certain topic, you'll find the information, papers that have been written by smart minds, right? But now the implementation, even policies are there, but now the implementation, now that's where it's sort of like the gap is. And I remember us doing a lot of research on the computer, and then, you know, we just said, can we just pick a county, go there, and do now field research and see if it matches before we start. And so we picked up we picked up Embu County. We went to all the 4 wards in Embu. the Mbere, Runyenjes, Mbere North, South. So you have the drier parts of Embu, the greener parts where you find tea, and I think they also have coffee in some areas.
Yes, they have a lot of coffee.
Yeah. So we do our
area.
research, the Mugoka as well.
Mary's in the house.
Very interesting. I forgot about Mugoka. We have a lot of fun because these visits give us a lot of end consumer insights. But interestingly, we had some questionnaires, and one of the questions were, have you ever considered using an improved cook stove? This is like after we've done the demo, we've told them about them, and then, you know, we are asking them a couple of questions. And so they're like, how would I have considered if I've never heard about it?
Wow. Yeah, that's
So, in fact, wanakuita, because, you know, they all have the questionnaires, they call you, and like, this question, what do you mean? So how would I ever have considered if I've never heard about it?
What does that make you feel?
Like, there's a lot of work
when you feel they
that
don't
need to be
even
done.
they don't even care or know. I mean, because they've never had.
They care.
So they don't. Okay,
They
sorry.
actually care.
Let me withdraw that.
Yeah.
They don't have an option because they've not had.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Very correct.
So the hearing is a key here.
Yes.
Wow.
It just then makes you question our priorities as well. You know, there are many things we want to focus on, but can we at least, at the very least, remember 25,000 lives, if nothing else?
Yeah.
We are losing, and those are the recorded ones, Moses.
I'm just and then have you had an opportunity to talk to our leaders when you go to some of these counties?
No. Not up until this point. We would love to.
I'm going to promise you, you're going to have to. You're going to do it.
We want to. We want to. Please, if any of them is watching this show, please reach out to us. we
shall
absolutely would love to, because it's really life changing, in the sense that, for example, Mbere South, where they grow dengu and mbazi, right? Very dry area. There are no forests.
Wow.
So firewood is actually a scarce resource.
And it's as a result of
deforestation to get there.
There you go.
Yeah. So
it's a full circle.
It's a
full circle.
So you find that these women buy a load of firewood, from what they told us, at about 300 to 400 shillings. That load, which is like they have a size they call a load, right? It costs about 300 to 400 shillings. They can only cook for about 3 days with that load.
I think we need to go for a break.
So the math.
They're about to depress me.
We are.
Well, we're going for a break, and when we come back, I want you to engage Lorraine and Anne on the statistics and the interventions they're doing. See you after the break.
Are you ready for a divine encounter? East Africa, it's time to rise. From November 7th to 9th, 2024, Eternity Ministries invites you to the Ignition Conference East Africa, which will take place at Pan-Africa Christian University, located along Lumumba Drive in Roysambu, Nairobi. Sessions will run from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This is your moment to experience a Church of Warriors 2, a 3-day gathering of anointed teaching, healings, signs and wonders, impartation, and ignition. Get ready to be empowered. Join a lineup of seasoned leaders, including Pastor Wesley Ogude, Dr. Ferdinand Nweke, Dr. Kurt Olson, and Brother Mark Kolo, as they usher in the fresh wave of God's presence. It is a movement event that will reignite your faith and equip you to be a part of God's end time army. And here's the best part, it's absolutely free. Simply register now at www.eternityministries.org/ICEA. Mark your calendar November 7th to 9th and prepare to experience the power of God like never before. The warriors are gathering. Will you be among them? See you there.
Explore a world of knowledge at Elevation Bookshop. Dive into topics like marriage, money, and spiritual growth with our vast reading materials. But that's not all. We are thrilled to introduce new additions like stationeries, notebooks, modeling clay, dictionaries, pencils, kamusi, and more. And calling all students, gear up for success with our back-to-school items, providing you with everything you need to excel in every subject. At Elevation Bookshop, we assist you in finding the perfect resources for your journey. Do you have specific preferences or looking for something special? Visit us at Kenya Cinema Plaza, mezzanine floor, or contact us on 0748 902 225. Elevation Bookshop. Enrich your life.
Welcome back. I hope you had the chance and opportunity to send your link to other people. Please, let's get interactive on this one today as we talk to Lorraine and Anne. This is a serious matter that we are dealing with. Part of your interventions, you were talking about alternatives. Yes. Alternatives. What are some of the alternatives you came up with?
So, what we are trying to do as Lowaki is to be able to create more awareness and enhance access of these products for the people who absolutely desperately need them. So we looked around the Kenyan market to see what was available that could solve that particular problem. Before we went on a break, I was talking about the cost.
Yes.
For example, this part of Embu where
they were growing dengue, and the forests
yes. Are non-existent, right? So firewood is a scarce resource. So you'll find that the load is about 300 to 400 shillings. It'll last them about 3 days, so they need 2 loads per week. So you're looking at about 800 shillings per week to be able to cook. When you look at the families that we're talking about, 800 is a really, like, it's a huge amount in terms of expenses for cooking. So this lady, first of all, ako uko ndani mbere north na uko ndani kabisa, kumwambia achukue gas, a change into gas, hata hiyo refill itamsumbua. And because the economy there is pesa ndogo, sort of like on a daily. It's not like she has a salary where she can get her gas refilled, let's say at the end of the 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however the gas lasts her. So they are spending 300 because that's the 300 they have today. So they're not going to change that. It's not a choice, right? That's just the cards life has sort of like handed them at the time. So how can we then give them a solution that they can use with the same available fuel, just lesser of it? So the 300, 400 shillings load lasts you, let's say, 2 weeks as opposed to 3 days. That's significant.
Wow.
And also it reduces the exposure to carbon monoxide during cooking. And like Lorraine said, we must start where they are. Otherwise, you know, we will not see the transition we are seeking by 2029.
So what are some of the solutions you came up with?
So one of the key things Lowaki came up with is we had an opportunity to either bring our own products from wherever or go and be producers and manufacturers. Then we quickly realized the market, like Anne was saying, we are very smart people in this country. So already there are people who have come up with these products and these solutions in the market. But then you don't want to come and I push it down your throat, shove it down your throat and say, this is the one you must use.
Yeah.
No, we decided to become aggregators. And then Anne is very good with last mile distribution. I am very good with community development work and working with communities. And so we looked at it and said, so how do we reach these people where they are with what is available? So you look at Moses and you're like, Moses can afford the clay jikos. I mean, I'm sure you can afford LPG, but for example, then Anne can, perhaps move to a bigger tire of an improved cook stove. So let's give you a wide array of choices. Then you pick, not us dictating what is good for you. But before we even do that, we then go and test them ourselves. So our mothers, our aunties are our guinea pigs. So we come
our
and give they are our R&D. We get it and they're like,
assurance.
Alafu, the way it works, you give us. And then because they're very authentic and they are not here to make us happy, they will give you as raw feedback as you can get.
Yeah.
So that's where we started, really. By picking different products, trying them. They told us exactly which ones not to even bring and put on our portfolio. And so we've evolved. We've gone growing and
introducing new products in our portfolio. Wow. I see several in studio today.
Yes.
We have, is it Eco Zoom?
Yes.
And we have the gas stove.
Yes.
Do you have a story behind them?
We do.
Well, the story we want to tell today, the story we want to tell today is how these jikos are reducing the amount of fuel you need to cook, the amount of time you cook, and also the amount of carbon monoxide emission that is emitted from these stoves. So
each has its own, what do we call it? So do we have one is better than the other? Okay, we can go one by one. Let's start by this offering.
Different offerings. So like, for example, this is an improved cook stove.
Yeah.
All of them are. And this jiko uses charcoal. It will save you 70% less fuel. Like it will save you 70% of the charcoal that you use. In fact, charcoal and briquettes. We are also encouraging people to start using briquettes. They're affordable, especially with this particular stove. So 70% savings when you calculate bei ya makaa. I was in Kawangware on Sunday.
Okay.
Mkebe is 100 shillings.
Wow.
So meaning if a family was cooking, first of all, a load will cook for about 2.5 hours.
Oh.
So you can cook literally anything with one load. So if the briquettes are costing, let's say, a 5 kilo for 300, and you can cook for 10 days, so that means that's 30 shillings to cook. For a family that's earning below $1 a day,
that's big.
That's huge. So we are moving from 100 to 30, and it's a fantastic jiko. This particular one uses both firewood and charcoal. This is targeting rural, especially, and especially those areas where sometimes you have charcoal, sometimes you have firewood. It's called a gasifier. Fantastic jiko. In terms of firewood, I think it saves you maybe 90%.
Oh.
Yes, because it uses kuni kidogo sana. We have a couple of videos on our socials, on our LinkedIn. Those who want to see how it works can definitely go there, and they'll be able to see how it lights. And how it works. For charcoal, it will save you about 60%. For firewood, 90, like kidogo. In fact, when we usually hold them like this when doing demos, and we're like, this can cook a meal. And most don't believe. And then we have that, which is a clay jiko. The clay jiko is an improved version of the ile tumezoea inaitwa KCJ, Kenya Ceramic jiko. Yeah.
You seem to be having very good times. Do you have any challenges? You know, we used to have a politician. We used to have a politician in this country.
You don't have enough
we
time
used to
for
say
challenges.
life is way, you know.
So the challenges I think we are facing right now is the growing our partnerships, let me say, because we are doing. Remember, we talked about financing being an issue, affordability.
Yes.
And so we are working with SACCOs, especially SACCOs serving farmers in the village, for serving dairy farmers or tea farmers or coffee farmers. So if you're out there and you're listening and you work in a SACCO, please reach out to us. We really want to come and work and support your farmers in the transition. So I would say that's one of the challenges. I'm sure Lorraine has some
So
more in mind.
affordability, like we had said earlier, is a key issue, because then these are, for lack of a better word, it's a luxury, because whether I have this jiko or not, I will cook for my family. So the conversation is, I want to transition to a cleaner, safer cooking solution. So because of that, convincing this woman to then move from what she's using today to something else that will cost her more money, at least at the beginning, is one of the biggest challenges. And one of the ways we are solving that is, like Anne was saying, when you sit with them and you do the math, you know, we assume that in rural areas, firewood you'll just go and collect. It's very expensive. They actually have to buy. Deforestation has really, when you see us trying to cover the forest cover in this country, it has remained at 10. I don't even think we've reached the 10%, to be very honest. We haven't reached the 10%, to be very honest. And it's going to take us some time. Yeah. So just having those conversations of transitioning, her being able to afford, her being able to access the product is one of the biggest challenges we have.
Let me ask about the place of partnership, like you came into. You were talking about SACCOs, you were talking about the place of partnerships. What kind of partnerships are you looking for? Is it just SACCOs? Is it government? Is it the women? Is it the chamas? Is it?
So women groups make really, really good partnerships for us because they give us access to more women, and we really are a women-led, for women sort of organization. So that's always an advantage, having access to those. We cannot ignore the government. In fact, this technology is by the government. Kenya Institute of Research, Kenya Institute of Research Development Institute,
Kirigia.
Yes, Kirigia. This innovation is by Kirigia, so we work with government agencies as well. So the gasifier was invented many years ago, and we are just hoping like it can get to as many homes as possible. So yes, so we are looking for women chamas, government agencies, SACCOs and banks, because they really serve this community financially, and it's also a really good social cause. We're also looking for partnerships with funders, especially because even with financing help, there are still families who still can't afford.
Yes. Whoa. Oh yeah, yeah. There are families who are not.
So it's different levels.
Yeah.
And we had a partnership. We still have it. We have a partnership with Nairobi Kenya. They fight jiggers in the community. So you can imagine a jigger invested family is not going to be able to afford a jiko, and hardly do they even have fuel, right, to be able to cook. And so these are the people we are trying to see how we can sort of work together. We believe in collaborations. The more players we can collaborate with, I think the more women we can get to.
I wanted to add something before I lose that thought. You see, also the other thing we are challenging corporates especially is because globally now, ESG, environment, social and governance, is a topic. Is a must for you to, when you're sitting in boardrooms and having executive meetings. ESG and sustainability is at the core of the discussions that we are having. So how about we include training, empowering of these rural communities to transition to clean energy. Because then, like you very well said earlier, we will be addressing a number of issues. One, there's the health issue. Two, there's the afforestation issue. Yeah. And the environment issue at large. But then three, we're empowering. When we meet with these chamas, one of the things we want to do, because the other word that is used over and over is this empowering and economic empowerment.
We need to revise our language needs to be revised.
Completely. And then you're like, so how are you doing it? So for us is when we meet these chamas, and chamas are a big thing in this country. If you think about the amount of money they are commanding or income they are commanding for this country,
it's how they survive.
It's how they survive.
Yeah.
Those table banking, it is, I mean, we've sat in those table banking and the monies they are revolving on the table. Moses, you're nowhere near wealth. These women in Mashinani, your person on the table is amazing.
We start using this table now.
Yeah, so it's really then showing them how else can you. In fact, they tell us we've bought enough viombos and these plastic chairs and all these other things. Yeah. But then how do we enlighten them? How do we empower them to do more with the monies that they're saving? When they're selling to each other, one of the things we encourage, especially for the leaders, the chairperson, the treasurer, is imagine you can make a commission. You're the agents on the ground. We don't look for agents anywhere else. You're the agents of change. Yeah. Because it's harder for Anne and I, now we're in the studio looking the way we do. When we're in the field, we don't look like this, by the way. Don't be lied to. But then it's easier for them to have those conversations of change amongst their peers, instead of Anne and I being the ones who are having this conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about one of those stories you look at and you wake up in the morning to do another one. Success stories. Yeah. You mean, you see, this one here we succeeded.
Yeah.
And you just wake up and you want to look for another one.
You'll be shocked it's from a man. I don't know which one hers is, because we all have our favorite words. Every day we have one.
Yours.
But for me, when there's a gentleman in Kegoro, was it Kegoro Dairy? No. What is it? Kangare Dairy.
Yeah.
So we had sold him one of these improved cook stoves a while back. And then much later with one of our partners in Moranga, we go to visit. Do you know, he's the one who did the presentation. He said, let me tell you, I use this jiko. And this jiko saves me 70, it's not even a lie. Ninapika ugali yangu, nikimaliza naekelea nyama, nikimaliza naekelea maji, nikimaliza, and I've not added nothing. Let me tell you, we sat back. As in, it's not like they say stories are jaba in Meru. It is the reality. So for us, really, Moses, it's not about selling of jikos. Yeah. It never was from the beginning. Yeah. It really is transforming lives in rural Kenya. That is mine. I don't know which one yours.
In fact, my favorite, it's the same gentleman, interesting enough. Yeah. And he said that, but he also said, do you know this jiko takes 5 minutes to light up? Oh. Utashinda ukipepeta? And then I was just like, I have never thought of it like that. I know it saves you cooking time because it has more heat. I didn't know it saves you lighting time. That part I didn't know. And I, we did now a comparison to confirm. The normal jiko will take you about 15, 20 minutes. So, that is significant. Hata hiyo kupepeta kwanza, I used to hate it when I was young. Shinde umepepeta jiko iwake. But so we have many stories about how well it cooks chapatis. Many stories.
Mundeka is telling you. It's called Mundeka Peter is telling. Let's continue impacting.
We continue impacting. Absolutely. That is all we are about.
We have a Lunga Junior says kazi zuri sana. I'm watching.
Asante. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's just the people online. And I'm our time is going very fast. I think we need to reverse this clock. Whoever made this clock.
I think when you're having a good fun conversation, time moves very fast.
I'm thinking about, I know I should have asked you this in the beginning. I'm thinking about your normal day. When you just wake up. Some people, they wake up, they do their prayer in the shower as they rush to the stage or to their car, and they came to the city. How's your day?
Lorraine, how is your day?
Our day, interestingly, we are hardly ever in Nairobi these days. In fact, when we're in this city, we just feel challenged. We are like, we are local, we are in mashinani, tourist kitu gani. We wake up 5 o'clock, by 6 we're on the road.
Wow.
Many a times at 7 we are, because now we've been really focusing on Murang'a.
Okay.
So by 7 a.m. we're in Murang'a. We like that chai ya kibanda and mandazi. Oh, there's nothing nicer. Just let me tell you. That mandazi and mayai imepigwa hivi yakashikanisha. There's nothing nicer.
Local guy. Local guy.
I am a local. Nothing nicer, let me tell you. You know those cups of...
Amoeba cannot attack you.
Na chai ya nini maziwa ya ushago
imekamuliwa. Oh, circular economy.
With a tin cup.
With a tin cup. There you go. There you go. And so that
I'm going to Murang'a in a few.
Come with us.
I'm going in a few days.
We know Murang'a more than most politicians in Murang'a now. So typically that's how our day is. So we have we attend a lot of women meetings. We have quite a number of organizations that we're working with down there. We've partnered with Amica, which is the biggest circle in Murang'a. Wow. So we are doing a lot of visits with them. We're also in Kirigia. We have some really good partners, and it's important for us to mention our partners because they are really, you know, the people that are holding us. We've got an organization called Rainforest Alliance. We've got an organization called Fair Trade Africa. We've got an organization.
I know Fair Trade.
You know Fair Trade? Yeah. In fact, the Askari here, I found her with a jacket. I was so excited when I see that jumper written Fair
So
Trade.
you needed to be here.
Yes, yes. Kirigia, of course, is our partners. We've partnered with Cooperative Bank of Kenya.
Wow.
Yes, and Premier Credit. We've got quite a number of people that we are working with.
Wow. So your day is online.
Well, I believe we have different days. We have interview days.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes we have boardroom days. So you'll find us in boardrooms. Obviously, getting such partnerships doesn't come easy. But I think my favorite is actually being in Mashinani, having conversations with these women about how this very simple solution can transform their lives and save them money. We were doing the calculation and it's over 20,000
a year.
Yeah. And so even as we are discussing, we're like, okay, let's do a bit of financial literacy. Why don't you save the money that you could have spent in charcoal and at the end of the year do something different with it, you know? Yeah, so I think
Moses. I've just remembered another favorite one, Moses, and you know, it's the smallest things. You know, sometimes we think of big things, it's the smallest things. So one of the weekends we got a phone call where, you know, these women chamas have what we call iruga and meetings. And guess what? So some of these jikos when you buy, they used to come with aprons. Aprons. Most of these women had never owned an apron. They all donned their aprons, carried their jikos to go for this cooking event on a Saturday. What joy is that?
I know.
What joy is that?
You're
It's the little
That's
things. It is the little things.
I tell you, it's the little things. I agree with you. Talk to me about youth involvement. Have you done that? Are you involved with the youth? Have you involved them?
Not as much as we would like to, I would say,
They don't even know what is a jiko.
In
There's a generation that does not
yes.
know.
I think we've worked with more women than youth. We've worked with some youth, and I think we want to do more of youth and women. And men too. Let's stop this. We are empowering communities.
But in terms of the youth, what I think and what our dream and vision has been for the youth is we are big on TVETs. We are very big on TVETs. Now, what we know for a fact is any one of these GCOs will need either at some point a spare part changed or something done. So guess who will be the best person to do some of these things?
To offer support after
It will be the youth, and it will be the youth who are in TVETs. And that's why I keep encouraging, yes, we can't all be CEOs, we can't all be working in banks or working in corporate. These TVET guys that are very good with their hands and handiness and engineering and all these things, imagine they're the innovations we need. This is locally made, and we really want to encourage more of local manufacturing. And who is going to do these things? It's the youth and the TVETs. So we need to encourage it. We can't all go to universities, and TVETs are good.
Exactly. So I'm thinking about children.
Yes.
The curriculum, there's a shift in curriculum. The other day, I was talking to this, what is it called, this new thing? CBC. And she was telling me, I'm just doing sciences, Okay, I like the conversation. But then I said, maybe some of these courses should be brought down there. Some things like clean energy, things like to do with the environment. You see that if they grew up thinking this way, you see some of these things will not be a challenge anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even things like integrity, really. You know, you just pick it this and making sure that we have forests, because when you travel, and I'm sure you've had the privilege, and you see people's forests, and you think about your little desert at home. I mean, it makes you think, and you see some of these things are championed by children.
Yes.
Absolutely. In fact, our children are very involved in what we do in terms of, and they're young, 11 and 4. And they know mummies are going to sell jikos. My 11-year-old is always selling to her teachers and telling them, my mom has a cook stove. Have you bought one?
That guy
So
should keep that child all over.
I know. So they really do get it, and we want to encourage them, so that then it's just not about planting of trees, it's growing of trees.
Yes.
And why are we even growing these trees? We need to start explaining the why. So that we are just not saying on this day we are just going to go somewhere and plant trees. No.
I think the why is an issue.
The why is an
And
issue.
if you ask me, the most important place to start when it comes to nurturing our kids, and as we speak about institutions, is the institution itself. Because I don't know which high school you went to, but sisi tulienda ile kisufuria kilikuwa kinaekwa, it was smoky 24/7, made of firewood. In fact, the saddest thing, most of the chefs in schools suffer. They are part of that statistics because they are exposed to that smoke prolonged hours, because they are always in the kitchen cooking for the kids. So I feel like the first place to start is the institution itself,
yes,
to transition to clean energy and clean cooking, and the options are there for the food they cook for the kids. First start there before even we get to the curriculum. I believe there's something they are doing about that as well. But yeah, we do have, actually, we are working with a couple of partners to offer institutional stoves as well.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Because I was to ask you about institutional stores. You know, I was just, when you said about your school, you know, the other day I was thinking I should create a place where I replay what I used to see as a tourist attraction.
Oh Lord! Oh, you might traumatize people for life.
No. You know, and the food was tasty somehow.
High school is this?
In high school,
I don't remember.
I'm telling you,
It had a taste of smoke.
no,
And it had kerosene.
They
You
never
know,
used-
I think
Very
putting
hard
kerosene.
they were using firewood.
You very
They were
had
using
kerosene.
firewood.
Where
They were using firewood, but they used to put kerosene in the food. There was a story
Oh,
about
really?
it
There was
that we
a
don't want
Not
to.
our
we knew
school.
about it.
You look like you know about that story.
Not our school. I talk for that school now.
Yeah, but that would be a good place
Yeah,
to
that
start,
would be a good place to
right?
start.
Clean kitchens.
Imagine
in
our time
schools.
is gone. So I want you to
Wow.
look at that camera, Lorraine. I want you to make your pitch to the women.
All right. Transitioning to clean energy for us is meeting you where you are, be it in the clay, we can come there, be it in the efficient cooking, be it in the gasifier. We are here to support you to transition to improved cooking as we go to clean energy, pure clean energy. Thank you very much.
Lorraine, your 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Moses, for hosting us. And we want to help you cook efficiently, affordably, and safely. So you can reach us on social media as Lowaki Eco Solutions. My name is Anne Muhia. I'm also on the socials, and Lorraine Kirigia as well. Please reach out to us and we'll take you through.
Repeat your contacts.
My contacts, Anne Muhia on all socials, Lorraine Kirigia on all socials, and as a company, Lowaki Eco Solutions.
Well, we couldn't do much. I think they have spoken everything that needed to be spoken about today.
It feels like it wasn't enough.
Mine is just to say thank you for being online. Those of you who are online, we cannot read all the names. Thank you for watching. All of you, we appreciate you. Look at it. I want to make an appeal today to you as Elevate Television. We have been nominated for, you know, the beautiful awards, and the adverts are on your screen right now. We want to ask you, vote for us. Make sure you vote as many times as possible. Make us #1 in your area. And let me tell you, we will not disappoint you. The numbers are on the screens. The advert is on your screen right now as you're watching, and you're going to and we want to appeal to you. Now we are asking you, please vote for us. But also remember, what you want to see, text on those lines. We are willing to produce for you. You are the reason we are here, and that's why we came. That's why we brought Lorraine and Anne.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, that's all we could get for you today. Lorraine, thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much.
And being here, and thank you.
Thank you.
I hope we brought you to Nairobi today. Make sure you see the bill. That's all we could have for you. Good day. Have yourself a wonderful day today.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.